Hey everybody, it's Humor and History. My name's John, and with me right now is going to be the top 10 David Attenborough moments. Definitely a national treasure. Americans know him. Everybody knows him. So, and of course, if you're British, you know him too. So let's see if they got your favorite top 10. And if it's not on here, let me know what you think his best scene is, if it isn't on here, or which one you like.
Number 10, The Capercaillie, The Life of Birds. This documentary series studied the evolution of birds, plus their shared and singular habits, casting new light on hundreds of species. During the course of its filming, Sir David covered over 250,000 miles, visiting more than 40 countries, yet arguably its best and most memorable moments came close to home, in the Highlands of Scotland.
And the best, in the end, is claimed by the most powerful male, who will defend it against any intruder.
As Attenborough enters the territory of the world's largest species of grouse, the capercaillie, he comes face to face with a bird that mistakes him for a love rival. Run, David, run!
This being the breeding season, that he'll display into almost anything, including me. No doubt, no doubt.
Number 9.
How could you not enjoy the kind? It's a kind way of narration. He's got a great voice. He's got a great, I think love of animals. I think that's obvious. It should go without saying, but I have to say it. But he takes it very lightly and very well. My understanding is that it's kind of scripted, but not really. Like, he knows, what animals they are, and what their attributes are, and he goes after them to find them. But that's very funny. I love that one went after him as a mating rival, and he takes it so well.
9. The Wolf Call, The Life of Mammals. In his memoir, Adventures of a Young Naturalist, Attenborough tells the story of how he once wrestled a red-maned wolf in Argentina.
What?
Perhaps that is how he got to know the animal so intimately, for in the following clip he shows off an impressive ability to copy their call. As the presenter explains how wolves are able to communicate across long distances, his impersonation is so convincing that he appears to draw responses from an entire valley full of the animals.
That's amazing.
It's eerie and incredible at the same time.
Yeah.
Number 8, Meeting.
So, okay, in Alaska and in the States, of course, in Canada, in the States in the West, if you hear wolf calls, they are eerie. You think, you see it and it might not be, but we do have such a diverse area here in the States that you can hear them at night, as well as coyotes, that's a little weird too. But that was a dead-on wolf call. This guy, he knows his stuff.
Barack Obama. David Attenborough meets President Obama. On the occasion of Attenborough's 89th birthday, he was invited to the White House by the then President of the United States.
By the way, if I was president, I would totally invite him to the White House too. I have a long list of people I'd invite.
Sir David Attenborough, thank you so much for being here. As I was telling you in our walk over, I have been a huge admirer of your work for a very long time.
Obama wanted advice about the most critical issues threatening the Earth in the 21st century, and after half a century as a leading naturalist, no one is better placed to give it than Attenborough.
So I actually remember when this happened. I did watch this particular one, and it was something like, it was when it came to climate change, or what he suggested, and he was basically saying, we are the worst when it comes to climate change. Is what particular, they got into species and whatnot and what was most dangerous or whatever. And I think he said something like humans were the worst. And that was I don't know, it's obvious, but I guess he sort of, as we say, hit the nail on the head.
And the rising in temperature, global temperature, is a very, very serious worry indeed.
Of course, he has long been a spokesman on issues such as climate change and conservation, giving this sobering warning in his 2000 documentary series, State of the Planet.
But it's now increasingly apparent that one species, our own, has developed the unique ability of so altering its surroundings that it can destroy
whole species, indeed whole environments.
Number
Isn't that true? I mean, and he said that in 2000. It's, what, 23 years later? And you know what? There are still people that are not on board with it. They just don't accept it. And that blows my mind. But yeah, he was right on board in 2000. That's to me, that's fascinating, because there were a lot of people that got laughed at for saying that we're ruining that climate change was a thing, and that we were responsible or had a hand in it. One of the most notable being the vice president under Clinton, which was I can't remember his name right now, Al Gore, and that was his big thing. But he made a movie called The Inconvenient Truth, and yeah, Attenborough was on board with that. And of course now everyone's like, oh yeah, but then he was considered almost like a pariah, an outsider.
7. Lonesome George, Galapagos 3D. The Pinta Island tortoise Lonesome George was once the last known member of his species and the rarest creature in the world.
This is the rarest living animal in all the world.
When Attenborough visited the Galapagos National Park in 2013, he was granted just 30 minutes alone with Lonesome George, who was asleep for most of it, but awake for a few crucial moments.
So now George lives in his own enclosure, completely safe, but entirely by himself.
Sadly, George died a fortnight after this clip was filmed, but has since become an important symbol for conservation efforts in the Galapagos Islands and beyond. And George and David briefly became one of television's greatest double acts.
But at least he can be a living inspiration for us all to protect the remainder of the reptiles and amphibians of the world.
Number
It's true. He could talk about, I don't know, human feces and make it sound wonderful and interesting. But yeah, I recall the Galapagos 3D. I did not watch it, but I'm curious how old George was when he passed. And I know the turtles can live up to I think 150 years old, maybe 170. I wonder how old George was.
6. Bird song bloopers. Attenborough's Paradise Birds. Attenborough achieved a childhood ambition when he travelled to New Guinea to film Birds of Paradise for Attenborough in Paradise in 1996, and he has continued his association with some of the world's rarest bird life ever since, including narrating these images of the creatures' courting rituals, which are regarded as some of the greatest wildlife footage ever captured. But not everything always goes according to plan.
This surely is one.
As a consummate professional, Attenborough usually records his scripts in a small number of takes, yet here one bird was determined to upstage him.
By about the 18th century. And so when... Very well.
Number
He is such a nice guy. I mean, it would kill me to find out that he goes home and beats his wife or something. That would be horrible. But he's fascinating, and I don't know, it's hard to upstage Sir David.
5. The Adele voiceover. The Greg James Show.
Look as the world's most famous pop star zooms down a dirt track in an old Mini.
During his distinguished career, Sir David has provided plenty of hilarious voiceovers on subjects ranging from nightclubs to Olympic curling. But perhaps his most famous alternative voice work came in 2015, when Radio 1 DJ Greg James challenged him to narrate the opening to Adele's music video for her song Hello.
Her surroundings are unfamiliar and unwelcoming, but this is no match for such a cool customer, so she decides to tidy up a bit. Oh, dusty, isn't it?
With a script in the style of one of his famous documentaries, this performance underlines not just Attenborough's versatility, but also his sublime sense of humour.
The lesser-spotted Adele is about to be everywhere again.
Hello,
Hello.
it's me.
Oh my gosh, the lesser spotted. That's always something that sticks out when I think of Sir David Attenborough. It's the lesser spotted this, or I mean, the names that are out there are fascinating, and to see that he's in on his own joke, or he's in on his own, on the humor he does. That's just great.
For the
But I didn't know he had anything to do with Adele. I had no idea about that.
orangutan, Zoo Quest. Heading back to Attenborough's first major TV appearance, here he partners with staff from London Zoo to collect specimens for their expanding collection.
That is a long
an
time ago.
accepted practice back then.
And soon, every time I passed his cage, he stretched out his hand to attract my attention in the hope that he'd get some more food.
And this now famous clip shows Attenborough's natural affinity with the animals as he wins the trust of the orangutan, Charlie, and eventually coaxes him out of his cage and onto deck.
And then, for the first time, 4 days after we'd had him, we encouraged him to come right outside his cage.
Once rehomed in England, Charlie actually fathered the first orangutan to be born at London Zoo, establishing its breeding colony.
Within a few days, he was so tame that he allowed me to put ointment on the bad graze which he had on his wrist.
Number 3, the blue...
Wow, that was a long time ago. I didn't know he's been in the business that long. I guess he became more of a star in the, late 70s, 80s, I guess? I don't want to say star, because that's not true. His documentaries were just very well done with his voice.
Blue whale, the life of mammals. Meeting a blue whale was another of Attenborough's boyhood dreams, and another he fulfilled when he helped to capture this stunning footage of the mighty marine mammal.
And he's coming up! He's coming up!
Attenborough's obvious excitement threatens to spill over as the creature surfaces mere meters from his boat, yet he retains his professionalism just enough to faultlessly deliver a perfect piece to camera.
Only in the sea can you get such huge size as that magnificent creature.
A clear fan favourite moment from the presenter's long and distinguished back catalogue, few scenes so magnificently sum up the magic of the natural world.
And as it tilts its 100-ton body downwards, so it can plunge to the black world 500 feet or more below the surface.
Number 2.
Now that is amazing. I've seen people next to whales when they surface, and I mean I would be terrified. I don't think I'd be smiling, but it's amazing that he was. It's good to see him with that, very obviously very happy, look on his face.
2. The baby rhino, Africa. This documentary, obviously set exclusively in Africa, features one of the most moving moments of Attenborough's entire career as he befriends a blind baby rhino called Nicky.
He starts to squeak, and we're able to have a little chat.
In an interview for Radio 5 Live,
That's so
Sir
cute.
David admitted to sometimes crying over the suffering of the animals that he encounters,
Yeah.
but he maintains that it's inappropriate for presenters to intervene or even show their emotion. Those principles were surely pushed to their limits here.
Aw.
Nicky never did get his eye operation, but still thrived in the care of a Kenyan wildlife team. Number 1.
Oh my gosh, and you know what? It does show a lot of character or integrity, I guess would be the word, when you're so devoted to your particular craft or your vocation, if you want to call it that, calling, and you know that you shouldn't intervene too much. Maybe more people should follow that advice, I guess.
1. Mountain gorillas, life on Earth. This clip has been regularly voted not just as a standout David Attenborough moment, but as one of the top TV moments in general of all time.
There is more meaning and mutual understanding in exchanging a glance with a gorilla than any other animal I know.
Filmed in Rwanda, it begins with a scripted section about the largest members of the ape family. But after feeling the hand of a female gorilla on his head, Attenborough's encounter with the group gets a little closer than he'd anticipated.
Sometimes they even allow others to join in.
And the reason why the presenter is smiling and grimacing throughout? Because out of shot, 2 playful baby gorillas are carefully removing his shoes. Do you agree with...
Only Dave Attenborough, Sir Dave Attenborough. That's wonderful. Which one was your favorite? I would say I enjoyed the blind rhino the best, but he's a wonderful guy, I think. But let me know in the comments which one you like the most. Thanks. Talk to you.